The World Cup is coming back. But this one is not like any World Cup you have seen before. For 2026, the whole tournament has been rebuilt from the ground up. There are more teams than ever. There are more matches than ever. And for the first time, it is being hosted by 3 whole countries at once. Even longtime fans do not fully know the new rules yet, because some of them have never existed before. So if you are a casual fan or just curious, this is the perfect time to get up to speed. 48 teams, 104 matches, one brand new tournament. Let's walk through exactly what is changing, one clear step at a time. Let's start with the scale. The headline number is 48. For the very first time, 48 teams will play at a single World Cup. To see how big that is, look back at the recent tournaments. From 1998 all the way through 2022, every World Cup had 32 teams. The last one, Qatar 2022, was a 32-team tournament. Now imagine taking that and adding 16 more teams on top. That is what 2026 does. 16 extra nations get their shot at the trophy. For many of those countries, this is the first realistic chance they have ever had to reach the World Cup. More teams means more flags, more first-timers, and more stories. And it all starts with that one big jump from 32 to 48. Next, where is all this happening? Normally, one country hosts the World Cup. In 2026, 3 countries are sharing it for the first time in history. Those 3 hosts are the United States, Mexico, and Canada, all next to each other in North America. Spread across them are 16 host cities, with 1 stadium in each, so 16 stadiums in total. Most of the action is in the United States, which has 11 of those stadiums. Mexico has 3, and Canada has 2. Picture a giant map stretching from Mexico City in the south all the way up into Canada. Teams and fans will travel huge distances between games. It is less like one host and more like one continent throwing a single enormous party. So when does it all happen? The tournament runs for 39 days, from June 11th to July 19th, 2026. That is more than 5 weeks of soccer almost every single day. It opens at the legendary Estadio Azteca in Mexico City, where the host nation Mexico plays South Africa. That stadium is making history too. It becomes the first ground ever to host 3 different World Cup opening matches. 5 weeks later, it all comes down to the final at MetLife Stadium, just outside New York City, on July 19th. And the crowds will be enormous. FIFA projects more than 5 million fans in the stands across the tournament. To put that in context, the old record was around 3.5 million back in 1994. So this could shatter it. Now that we know the scale, let's get into the new format. This is where things really change. Every World Cup starts with a group stage, where teams are sorted into small groups. In the old format, 32 teams were split into 8 groups of 4. For 2026, the idea is the same, just bigger. The 48 teams are divided into 12 groups of 4, so instead of 8 little groups, you now have 12. Each group is still a tidy set of 4 teams. That part feels familiar. But 4 more groups means a lot more matches, and it changes how teams have to fight their way through. 12 groups of 4 is the foundation of everything that follows. Keep that number 12 in your mind. So what happens inside one of those groups? It is simple and fair. Each team plays the other 3 teams in its group, once each. That means every team plays exactly 3 group matches. This style is called a round robin, which just means everyone plays everyone. After 3 games, the standings tell you who did well and who struggled. Now let's count the matches. Inside one group of 4, there are 6 possible pairings, so 6 matches. Multiply that by the 12 groups, and you get 72 matches in the group stage alone. 12 groups times 6 matches each equals 72. Hold on to that number too, because in a moment we are going to add the knockout rounds on top of it. After the group stage, the tournament switches to a knockout. From here on, lose and you are out. Now, because 48 teams started, a lot more of them survive the groups. 32 teams advance into the knockout stage, and that creates something brand new. To fit 32 teams, 2026 adds a fresh first round called the Round of 32. This round has never existed at a World Cup before. In the old days, the knockout began at the round of 16. Now there is one extra step in front of it. Think of the knockout as a ladder that shrinks by half at every rung. 32 teams, then 16, then 8, then 4, then 2, then 1 champion. Let's climb that ladder and count the matches. Let's add up the whole knockout. The round of 32 is 16 matches. The round of 16 is 8 matches. The quarterfinals are 4. The semifinals are 2. There is a third-place playoff, and then the final. Put it all together, and the knockout stage is 32 matches. Now bring back our group stage number. 72 group matches plus 32 knockout matches gives 104 matches in total. Compare that to Qatar 2022, which had just 64. So 2026 has about 60% more games. That is 40 extra matches of World Cup drama. For fans, it means more soccer, almost every single day, for over 5 weeks. 72 plus 32 equals 104. That one number really captures how much bigger this tournament is. Here is the rule that gives the knockout its tension. Every knockout match is sudden death. There are no second legs and no second chances. You play, and a winner has to come out. A normal match lasts 90 minutes, but in a knockout, a draw is not allowed. So if the teams are level after 90 minutes, they keep going. First comes extra time, an extra 30 minutes split into 2 halves. If someone scores and stays ahead, they win. But if the score is still level after extra time, the match goes to the most nerve-wracking finish in all of sport, a penalty shootout. That little detail, no draws allowed, is what sets up the most dramatic moments of the whole tournament. We will come back to shootouts soon. So with 48 teams and only 32 going through, who actually advances? Let's build that 32 step by step. Inside each group of 4, the teams are ranked 1 to 4 after their 3 matches. The top 2 finishers in every group go through automatically. That is the simple, classic rule. Finish first or second in your group, and you are safe. Now do the math across all 12 groups. 12 group winners plus 12 runners-up gives you 24 teams who are guaranteed a place in the knockout stage. That is 2/3 of the way to 32. But 24 is not 32. We still need 8 more teams from somewhere. And that brings us to the part of the new format that confuses almost everybody. Here is the twist. We have 12 groups, so there are 12 teams that finish third in their groups. Normally, finishing third would mean you go home, but not in this format. The 8 best third-place teams also advance. So out of those 12 third-place finishers, the best 8 survive, and the other 4 are eliminated. Add those 8 to our 24 automatic qualifiers, and you reach exactly 32. 24 plus 8 equals 32. The tricky part is that a team can finish third in its group and still not know its fate for days. They have to wait and see how third-place teams in other groups performed. It is confusing, but it is also exciting because it keeps far more teams alive and fighting much longer. To rank teams, you need points. A win is worth 3 points. A draw is worth 1 point. A loss is worth 0. Add them up after 3 games, and the team with the most points finishes higher. But what if 2 teams in the same group end up level on points? Then tiebreakers decide it, in a strict order. And here is a key change for 2026. The first tiebreaker is now the head-to-head result, meaning the game those 2 teams played against each other. In the past, the first tiebreaker was overall goal difference instead. After head-to-head, the list continues. Head-to-head goal difference, then head-to-head goals, then overall goal difference, then overall goals, then fair play, meaning fewer cards, and finally the world ranking. No more drawing names from a bowl. Now for the most dramatic part of any World Cup, the penalty shootout. When a knockout match is still tied after extra time, it comes down to penalties. 1 kicker, 1 keeper, 12 yards apart. You might think the best players score every time, but pressure changes everything. In a normal match, penalties are scored roughly 79% of the time. That is about 8 out of every 10. But in a shootout, with the whole tournament on the line, that number drops. In shootouts, only about 70% go in, which is roughly 7 out of 10. So that extra pressure costs about 1 goal in every 10 attempts. That tiny gap is exactly why shootouts are so unpredictable, and why even the greatest stars can miss when it matters most. Here is a question fans love to argue about. Does going first in a shootout give you an advantage? The thinking is that if you kick first, you put pressure on the other team to keep up. But the actual numbers tell a calmer story. Across World Cup history, teams that kicked first won about 49% of their shootouts. Teams that kicked second won about 51%. That is almost dead even. Essentially a coin flip. The small edge that does exist seems to come from winning the coin toss and getting to choose the order, not from kicking first by itself. So if you ever hear that going first makes you far more likely to win, be careful. The real history says it is close to 50-50. And shootouts are not just for early rounds. They have decided the World Cup itself. 3 finals have come down to penalties. In 1994, Brazil beat Italy on spot kicks. In 2006, Italy beat France. And in 2022, Argentina beat France in one of the most thrilling finals ever. Some nations seem built for this moment. Germany and Croatia have never lost a World Cup shootout. Argentina has won the most of all. And Qatar 2022 set a record with 5 shootouts in a single tournament. With 32 teams in the knockout rounds in 2026, we should expect plenty more. One last tip. Penalties aimed high into the corners almost always score. Keepers manage to stop only a minority. So watch where the kicker looks. So let's tie it all together. The 2026 World Cup is the biggest and most rebuilt tournament in history. 48 teams, 104 matches, 3 host countries spread across 16 cities, a brand new round of 32, and that one extra confusing twist where the best 8 third-place teams sneak through. More teams means more underdogs, more surprises, and almost certainly more penalty shootouts. It all runs from June 11th to July 19th, 2026, opening at the Azteca and ending near New York. So here is what to watch for. Keep an eye on the third-place race, because it will keep teams guessing until the very end. And when a knockout match goes level, settle in, because that is when legends are made. Enjoy the biggest World Cup ever.